There have been a number of mysterious cases which have remained unresolved in Jamaica. These are 10 of the most famous ones.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Ken Jones was a prominent member of the ruling Jamaica Labour Party administration in the 1960s, and it is rumoured that he was tipped to take over the reins of the top job from then Prime Minister Alexander Bustamante. But this was not to be, as while attending a cabinet retreat at a hotel in Montego Bay, St. James, Jones reportedly fell from a balcony. His death was ruled to be as a result of him sleepwalking, but many Jamaicans threw cold water on that official explanation and held true to the theory that he was pushed to his death. The answers to the skeptics' doubts have never been forthcoming. Jones was the Minister of Communications and Works at the time of his death. Jim Brown's jailhouse fire. Lester Lloyd Coke, more popularly known as Jim Brown, was a leading political enforcer for the Jamaica Labour Party in the 1970s and the 1980s, and rose to be the head of the feared Shower Posse, which wreaked havoc across the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Jim Brown, like his son Christopher Dudus Coke, was earmarked for extradition by the US government and was subsequently arrested and detained in 1972 at the General Penitentiary, now the Tower Street Adult Correctional Facility, until his date for extradition arrived. That day never came, as Jim Brown was burned to death in his prison cell. The cause of the fire was deemed as electrical, due to a television set Jim Brown was allowed to have in his cell. However, many Jamaicans believe that Coke was the victim of arson and that he was killed to silence him before he could spill his guts to US authorities. The death of Pakistan cricket head coach Bob Woolmer. Even though a commission of inquiry ruled that no one was criminally responsible for the death of English cricketer turned coach Bob Woolmer at the 2007 Cricket World Cup, his death remains a mystery after a pathologist ruled that Woolmer died from asphyxiation due to strangulation. He was found dead in the bathroom of his hotel room following his team's devastating first-round loss to Ireland. It was initially reported that he had died of a heart attack. An inquiry into his death ended inconclusively, with a jury returning an open verdict after hearing testimony from more than 50 people. Was Woolmer murdered, or did he die of natural causes? These questions remained unanswered. Poisoned policeman. The 2012 poisoning death of Senior Superintendent of Police Dathan Henry remains a mystery. A coroner's court ruled that Henry, who was the head of the troubled Clarendon Police Division at the time, was systematically poisoned by rat insecticide. But to this day, there has been no one found criminally responsible for his demise. In addition, a probe has not uncovered how the policeman was poisoned. Who shot Bob Marley? Minutes before 9 p.m. on December 3, 1976, 7 gunmen invaded the 56 Hope Road home of reggae legend Bob Marley and launched an attack. Bob was grazed in the chest and shot in the arm, while his wife Rita was shot in the head. His manager Don Taylor was shot in the legs and torso, while Wailers band member Louis Griffiths was shot in the torso. Fortunately, no one died. However, the shooting took place 2 days before the Smile Jamaica concert planned by Marley and others to promote peace in the politically war-torn Jamaica. The attack on Marley was widely believed to be politically motivated. It has since been alleged that Jim Brown was one of the gunmen, but to date no one has been brought to book for the attack that nearly robbed the world of the reggae legend. The Eventide home fire. The burning of the Eventide home in May of 1980, which resulted in the deaths of 146 elderly women, many of them blind and disabled, remains a mystery to this day. At the site of that tragic incident now stands a community known as Torrington Park, which in itself has seen its fair share of brutal murders. The cause of the fire was officially deemed as arson and left a stain on Jamaica's history. The victims of the fire were all asleep when the wooden building was torched. But why was it burnt? No one has the answer, and to date no one has been charged for the terrible tragedy, which saw the bodies of the 146 women being buried in 26 wooden caskets at the National Heroes Park in Kingston. Why was Keith Clarke killed? Accountant Keith Clarke met his demise after members of the security forces bombarded their way into his East Kirkland Heights home. On May 27, 2010, during a frenzied search for now incarcerated Tivoli Gardens strongman Christopher Dodoscoke. Clarke was shot 21 times in full view of his family. 3 members of the Jamaica Defence Force have been put on trial for his death, but the reason why he was killed remains unclear. Was it a case of mistaken identity? Were the soldiers shot at as they entered? Or was his death ordered because of the belief that he was Coke's accountant? The mystery remains unsolved. Who killed Jermaine Jr. and attorney-at-law Patrick Bailey's house? In a most bizarre incident on September 30, 2016, the body of 51-year-old contractor Jermaine Jr., otherwise called Gully, was found with bullet and stab wounds at Mr. Patrick Bailey's Barbican Road residence. The lawyer reported to the police that Jermaine was living at his residence for some time and that he found him dead in his living room. The cops reportedly recovered a spent shell and a knife at the scene. The deceased was found with more than a dozen stab wounds and a gunshot to the head. According to police reports, the attorney stumbled upon Junior's body about 4:30 a.m. The knife used was reportedly found beside the body. The police said that there were no signs of forced entry. Incredibly, Bailey was immediately ruled out as a suspect and placed on bed rest by his doctor and client, Jephthah Ford. Where is Claudia Kirschhoch? To this day, the disappearance of U.S. travel writer Claudia Kirschhoch remains a mystery. In May of 2000, Kirschhoch and their colleague Tania Grasinga landed in Jamaica on their way to Havana, Cuba. But their journey to Cuba was cancelled at the last minute. The woman checked into a hotel in Negril. The 29-year-old Kirschhoch reportedly made friends with bartender Anthony Grant, who offered to take her to a local club. Her friend had booked a return ticket to New York and agreed to meet up with Kirschhoch, but soon the writer disappeared without trace. She was reportedly last seen by a lifeguard walking away from the resort where she was staying. Investigations have revealed that housemates at the hotel found that she had not slept in her room for 4 days. Claudia has not been seen or heard from since. The mysterious death of Kentucky Kid. 3 cops and 2 civilians were charged for the murder of entertainer Robert Hill, more widely known as Kentucky Kid. The charges were laid against the 5 following a ruling by a jury at the Kingston and St. Andrew Corners Court in the inquest into Hill's death, who was shot and killed in what the police said was a shootout when they went in search of him at his Ivy Green Mews home on December 8, 2009. However, the DPP dropped the case against the murder accused, and all 5 were freed on Tuesday, October 14, 2014. At the time, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn, told the Home Circuit Court that it would be impossible to mount a viable case against the accused, saying the Crown was not in a position to contradict the policemen's account that they acted in self-defense. The DPP also stated that there were no witnesses of fact or any other material which could support a charge of murder or conspiracy to murder. She said while her office was sensitive to the sentiments of the public, the prosecution has to act in a professional manner and not to be influenced by prejudice or sympathy. Before his death, Kentucky Kid made several complaints to a number of bodies, including the Police Public Complaints Authority and Jamaicans for Justice, concerning incidents between himself and the police, expressing fear for his life and the safety of his family.
Teach them! Hey, yo, yellow! Send the message and make it reach them. It's teach them. Right here, Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them!